Hi everybody and welcome to Nikki Chanel's YouTube channel. It is Nikki Chanel here, and today we are going to be continuing our topic of HRT and transition by talking about how you can build your confidence through hair removal like I did. Now, a little bit about me. I am a trans woman, so I am biologically male. I had a lot of body hair. I had so much body hair, I had so much facial hair, and it gave me a lot of dysphoria. It gave me a lot of pain and suffering going through body hair growth. I absolutely hated every single aspect of it, and it was never something that I wanted to do. However, once I started transitioning, even before I started transitioning, I started to actually undergo body hair removal so I can become this person right here, because I do not associate women with body hair, and so it was my goal to actually get rid of that. Now today we are going to be talking about three main things for body hair removal. We are going to be talking about how HRT thinned out my hair. We're going to be talking about laser hair removal and electrolysis hair removal. And then we're going to go into waxing and shaving, as well as into briefly some home remedies, okay? Now let us get started. And as always, please like and subscribe, keep the comments section going, and keep it respectful, and let's get started. Okay, now moving into our first topic, we are going to be talking about HRT, also known as hormone replacement therapy. Now, HRT does not outright eliminate facial hair. I'm going to say that right now. It does not outright eliminate body hair. Its effects have been hair thinning, as I talked about in my video right here, talking about the effects of HRT. Now, pre-HRT, I had a lot of body hair. I had a lot of body hair, as you can see right here. However, with HRT, it slowly started to diminish my body hair, but it didn't outright get rid of it. It thinned it out, because this is from what I know, HRT reduces the amount of testosterone in your body. Specifically, one of the pills that I take, spironolactone, it is a testosterone suppressant, because most of your hair growth is generated through testosterone growth in your body. Me being biologically male, I had a lot of testosterone in my body, and so HRT thinned that out by suppressing that testosterone. Now, that being said, I've also been on HRT for 2 years and 4 months, so I've had probably the maximum effect that it could have, but as always with anything, it just takes more time and time. I didn't notice my hair thinning out for about the first 5 months. It was something I noticed about 6 months in, and I really noticed it about a year in. So HRT did a lot for my body hair, because from a quick shave, I can quickly get rid of most of my body hair on me. However, my arms and my legs and my face, the caveat, that was from laser hair removal. So laser hair plus HRT equals limited body hair, but overall HRT definitely made me feel better about myself in a lot of ways, body hair being one of them, okay? Now let us move on to our second topic. Now, this is going to be a big segment, because for permanent hair removal, there's one of two ways to do it. One of them is through laser hair removal, which I have a lot of first-hand experience with, and then electrolysis, which I'm going to have pretty soon. Now, let us talk about laser hair removal. So what laser hair removal is this essentially this high-powered machine that has a laser on the end of it, as well as like a little funnel for air, that moves across the surface of your skin and basically zaps the melanin within the hair follicle. It doesn't outright get rid of the hair follicle, except in some cases. It zaps the melanin. So right here, all I have growing on my arms right now is like little white hairs that you can't really see, but I notice them because sunlight and everything else. With laser hair removal, when you start it, you pay for sessions. So with me, a session for arms and legs is roughly $50 to $70. This was 2 years ago, so the prices may have increased. For the face, it's been on average about $30 per session. And over multiple sessions, you will see hair loss. Now, I had a lot of body hair on my legs, and I actually started laser hair removal a full 8 months before I even started medically transitioning through the pills that HRT has. So when I went in there, I had a pretty good amount of hair loss on my legs and arms. Also with this in there, my place that I go to, they ask you to shave your body. because it zaps the melanin in it, and they just go across it. They're very thorough, and they just beep, 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 beep. It's kind of a weird process. It's really loud because of the air on the machine, and you have to wear these sunglasses to prevent the UV light from the laser hitting your eyes, because that can damage your eyes. And they're very thorough. They ask me, okay, do you have any sunscreen? Do you have any sun exposure in the last 24 hours? Do you have any tattoos? Do you have any of this stuff? What is the hair follicle like? What does it look like? Because they have to set everything to your standards. So just be honest with them and tell them, like one day I forgot to wear sunscreen when I went running. It was about 2 days before, and they were a little bit worried, but I did not see any ill effects of it. Now, that being said, it limits your hair growth, kind of in the similar vein that HRT thins out your hair, as in it doesn't outright remove that hair. It just turns it into like these little white hairs everywhere, and you get what is called the patchy hair. So you get little patches. Like my face is a great example. I have patches right here, my neck and jawline, but like right here and in some areas right here, there's no hair. Like there's very limited hair growth, and that was from the patchiness of laser hair removal, because the laser gets most of your hair, just not everything about your hair, okay? Now we are actually going to split this segment up into 2 parts, and we'll talk about electrolysis in our next segment. Okay, so now let's talk about electrolysis. Now, I do not have that much experience with electrolysis yet, as I actually have my first appointment on September 26th of 2023. However, I have had consultations with the electrolysis performer, as well as talking to a couple of my fellow trans sisters who have undergone electrolysis. And electrolysis is the only permanent hair loss. However, it is a really intensive process that I think can best be described as like acupuncture, where what electrolysis is like the performer of the electrolysis, the person doing it, takes a little needle-like thread and puts it into your hair follicle and zaps the hair and kills the hairs to prevent growth. Now, there's a lot of effects with this. My girl said that depending on your skin tone and depending on all of these other factors, you may develop redness, you may get an infection. You know, I try to do the best I can to prevent that. However, that is a possibility, but it is permanent hair removal. That being said, I have to grow it out for 4 days before I go in there, because she needs to see where the hair follicle is growing out of. So I need to grow it for about 4 days before they even start doing the electrolysis thing. Now, I've talked to a lot of trans women who have had this. Danielle Breer, one of my personal friends on Instagram, she has had this, and I've asked her about it, and she's like, yeah, I don't have any more hair growth. That combined with laser hair has limited my hair growth. And that's something I'm really excited for, because once I get rid of my facial hair is when I'll feel better about calling myself Nicole in public and passing and doing all of that stuff and being a female at all times. Now, with that being said, is that the recommendation is that you start laser hair removal before electrolysis, and electrolysis gets rid of the pesky hairs. But it's also a really time-intensive process, because they're killing every single hair on your face. So if you start doing like the math on the hair, and I think it's like close to like 1,000 hair follicles, at least in one little section, that's a lot of hair to remove. And so it takes a lot of time. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and if you go to the wrong person, they will mess up your face. So make sure to do your math, make sure to do all of the research before you go in there. I have a pretty good feeling about this girl, and so I'm gonna go see her on September 26th, and I'll probably be doing a video on my electrolysis experience once I do that, okay? Now we are gonna move into our shaving and waxing segment. Okay then, so now moving into our last topic, we are going to be talking about shaving and waxing. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have experience with shaving. I shave my face religiously, pretty consistently. I do it 2 to 3 times a day, especially whenever I do this, or if I'm ever feeling extremely dysphoric, I will shave what facial hair I have left on my face. I will shave that off. I learned shaving my face really early on in transitioning. I think I learned it at like age 19. And over time of doing it, I've learned a lot of tactics. Now, I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I do it right now. What I do is I generally shave the areas that still have hair growth, such as right here, my abdomen, and I quickly gloss over the legs, especially getting like the knees and the toes and all that. Now, how I do it is I actually use this product right here. This is Philosophy Purity Made Simple Body. This is not a paid promotion. I have just used this stuff for like 7 years by this point, and it is awesome. It's not cheap, but it's essentially a shower, bath, and shave gel. And what I do when I'm in the shower is I take the little poof, mine's pink of course, and I put about like a quarter or like a 50-cent piece size amount on it, and then put just like my regular shower gel on it, and then sub that up and then use that on my face, and then I gloss over it with these things, women's razors. I started with men's razors because they were just cheap and I was a guy, so I figured I'd buy men's razors. And they didn't have the same effects that these things had. I have religiously shaved my face with this brand right here for about 5 years by this point, and this stuff's amazing. It's very smooth. I've never once experienced any sort of irritation with this unless I nick like my chin, or I nick an area, like I nicked right here earlier today, but that was just from being an idiot with the shaver. This stuff works really well. I think my combo works for me, and if you want to buy those products, I'll link them in the description, but this is not a paid promotion, so don't consider it that. Now, let's move into waxing. Waxing is one other method that you can use. However, I really would not recommend waxing every single month. Like, I've had my arms and legs waxed. That was a painful experience. Like, I am a runner, so I don't have much fat on the back of my thigh, and so when they put the wax on there and pulled that off, that was one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my entire life, especially when they like tweezed my toes. Yeah, that hurt. Waxing hurt way more than laser hair removal, lip filler, or anything. Like, that hurt a lot. Now, what I'm gonna say though is that I mentioned this in my laser hair segment. Laser hair removal, they do not touch the eye area. So your eyebrows, my eyebrows still grow hair, so I go get them waxed, and I have religiously got them waxed for close to 10 years by this point. It was actually one of the first things I ever did, and I love getting my eyebrows waxed because it allows me to have my eyebrows on fleek and sharp. Waxing I would recommend for eyebrows and the nose, but if you're doing all body hair and you are a trans woman, I really would not recommend waxing unless your hair growth is really slowed and stunted. Now, there's also a lot of at-home remedies that you could use, such as I've heard of all these at-home waxing and at-home hair removal processes. I don't really believe in any of that stuff, and I would rather pay money for a professional who specializes in this to do my waxing and to do my laser hair removal and to do my electrolysis. Because the current girl that waxes my eyebrows, she waxes my eyebrows and nose in about 7 minutes. She is amazing. Gets it perfect every time. Now, let us go into our closing thoughts. Now, moving into our closing thoughts, building confidence through hair removal was definitely a major portion of my transition. It is still an ongoing process as I still grow facial hair really consistently. You can actually see it right there, and that pisses me off. However, there is some caveat to this. None of this is cheap. Hair removal is not free. Everything costs money, and electrolysis is about $60 to $120 a session. However, it is permanent hair removal that makes me feel better about myself. So I would say the total amount that I've spent on hair removal is probably close to $3,000 by this point. That's $3,000. So transitioning is not cheap. Don't let anyone tell you it's cheap, but it's been totally worth it. I can sit here reliably in this fairly revealing outfit and be totally comfortable with my body in front of you. And hair removal is just one of the aspects of becoming a woman, is that I've talked to a lot of trans girls who all have their own story with it. We all have our own process. We've all gone through this in one way or another. And I am super excited to be, I would say, about 70% done with it. And once it's done, I won't have to worry about it. I can pass freely and go from there. But I want to do my electrolysis before I get my chest done because I never wanted to have a beard with my chest. That was something I never wanted. And once I get my chest done, I'll start working on the legal aspect of name change, and I will be Nicole King in the future. So I'm excited for the future. Now, as always, please like and subscribe, hit that bell button, hit the comment section, send this video to your friends, keep the conversation going in the comment section. Remember to be respectful, and I will try to answer as many questions I can, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay tuned for our next video. Love you.